I just got in my new comics that I pre-ordered 2 to 3 months ago. Let's open up this box and see what I've got. Welcome back, comic book fans. It's Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and in today's video, we've got my new comics that I pre-ordered 2 to 3 months ago for my subscription service with M&M Comics. Now, I get these orders in once a month. I don't do it bi-monthly, but I do get these in once a month, so it's always this really big order. And take a look at the size of this box. It's not too thick, but it's really big. And that tells me I probably have one of those facsimiles that they've been doing of some of those editions, well, the DC editions, the Treasury editions that they had out in the 70s. I probably have one of those in there because this is a really big box. So we'll open this up and we'll find out what I've got. So what I'm going to do is open this up off screen. You don't have to sit here and watch me open this up. I'm going to bag and board everything, and then we'll come back and we'll do a little show and tell. So stay tuned and I'll be right back.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
All right, everybody, I opened up the box and I ended up bagging and boarding all the new comics I've got in here. There were some surprises in here, some things I didn't realize I had ordered, but we'll go over everything. Let's start with the preview books that I get. I get the Marvel free preview book right here, and as you can see, they are pushing the new Emperor Doom storyline that's going to be going on in Marvel Comics. I have a feeling that this is a big push towards the MCU, that they're going to have Dr. Doom as the big villain. It was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con last year that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to play Doom, or a variant of Tony Stark as Doom. I don't know yet. Hopefully it's not a variant. I would love to see the real Victor Von Doom, but we'll see what happens. I know everybody's going to have an opinion at some point, so right now I've got somewhat of an open mind, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's the preview for Marvel, and then we have the DC Connect. That is the preview for DC Comics, and I will use both of these. I'll go through them and take a look. When I'm getting ready to do my pre-order with M&M Comics, I will go through these books as well as go through the website to try to find everything that I want to pre-order. So these are very helpful, and I still bag and board these and hold on to these. Sometimes some of these can be shockingly valuable at some point. I know that the one that had the Miles Morales preview was always a very popular one. Well, it's not really a first appearance, but it was definitely an appearance before the first appearance. So you never know when some of these might pop in value. And as a collector, I know you guys know that bagging and boarding and holding on to everything is kind of what we do. All right, for the Marvel Comics this week, let's start with the X-Men books. I did pick up, and I literally just said this week, but for this month, this pre-order, I had pre-ordered Mystique #1. I think some of the covers have been pretty good. I'm not honestly very interested in a lot of the X-Men titles, but I do pick up the #1s as a collector. I've already dropped most of the X-Men titles, and I will go through that as I show you the other X-Men books. The exception is I'm still continuing with Wolverine right now, so there is issue #2 and issue #3. I'm semi-enjoying this, but it's not the greatest thing ever, but I am semi-enjoying this. I'd already dropped the new Uncanny X-Men, but when there's a really cool cover, this is an Adam Hughes Rogue cover. Not the greatest Adam Hughes cover, but I thought it was good enough at the time when I pre-ordered, so I went ahead and picked that up. And again, another #1 was Psylocke, and I didn't really care for the art for the regular cover, but they had a beautiful art germ cover for that as well. So those were all the new X-Men books I picked up for this month. And I should say I pre-ordered for this month. Now, I still continue to pick up some X-Men titles, ones that I might have missed, mostly variant covers again, some cover that I might have not pre-ordered. I will pick those up, but I have not enjoyed any of the new X-Men other than the Wolverine, and we'll see about the Psylocke. I will read that because that is definitely one of my favorite characters. Now, for the other Marvel books, I continue to pick up Amazing Spider-Man, and this is issue #62, and I think this is I want to say is this the first in the Joe Kelly 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. I cannot remember. I know that you'll probably have already seen the new Comic Book Day video by the time this comes out. Now, I pre-ordered this, but I also have that on my pull list at my LCS. And sometimes at the LCS, I will exchange it for one of the other variant covers at the time. My LCS is Third Eye Comics, and they have a lot of different variants. So sometimes I will exchange this one for one of those. But I like to have a few books at my LCS to support them and to basically have a discount on all the new books that I do pick up each and every week. So I have that here. I did pick up the first issue of the new West Coast Avengers right here. You got an Alex Ross cover. But also you have another Art Germ cover of Firestar. Firestar. Sorry, my accent is getting in the way. Beautiful cover right there. Wonder if they did a version of that one. That one might be one I might want to get signed at some point. It's pretty cool. Got the regular Avengers book right here. I can tell you I'm not enjoying a lot of the Marvel books these days. I buy these out of habit. As a collector, I continue getting them. Sometimes there's some interesting things. I buy it because sometimes you get brand new characters that might take hold. You never know, but I'm an old Avengers collector. I've done this my whole life. It's always been my favorite book, and I guess old habits die hard right there. But I continue with the Avengers, including the Avengers Assemble. There's a pretty cool red ghost cover right there. And then we've got number 3 right there. And talking about Avengers, now one of the best books I had read here in the last few months was Aliens versus Avengers number 1, and finally issue number 2. It had already been out, of course, on New Comic Book Day, but I had pre-ordered it, so I didn't pick it up there, but I do have it here, and for some reason, I've got 2 copies of that. And I think what happened was, you know, when I say I pre-order these books every 2 to 3, or pre-order 2 to 3 months in advance, well, what happens is you put your order in, and then you go, and the next month comes along, and you put the next pre-order in. But they always have a solicitation for books from the previous month, and I suspect that this is one of those that might have slipped through, that I might have ordered a second time. That would explain that. Now, I've been still picking up some Ultimate titles. Ultimate Spider-Man I'm continuing with. I can't say that I'm exactly thrilled with it. And to be quite honest, I feel like I'm about ready to drop that one as well. I'd already dropped some of the other titles, but we will go over that here shortly, and I'll explain that further. But they really haven't done a lot with the Ultimate Spider-Man, and honestly, I'm about ready to give up on that. You guys will have to let me know if you're feeling the same way with the new Ultimate Universe. But there's still some more Ultimate titles here. Now, I've already talked about dropping the Ultimates, and this was probably the last pre-order I had done on this book right here. That was issue number 6. But I did want to pick up the full cover. It is a full front and back cover by, what is his name? Oh my God, I'm blanking on the name, but it is a pretty cool full cover right there. Here's I showed you issue 11. I'm obviously out of order. Here's issue number 10 of Ultimate Spider-Man. And I'm looking here, and that's all the Ultimate titles that I've got. I had already dropped Ultimate X-Men and Ultimate Black Panther. I know that they're going to have some other titles coming out pretty soon. I know the Ultimate Universe, I did pick that up when it came out in New Comic Book Day, and I probably have that as a pre-order as well. But we'll see if there's some of the other titles. I will give them a shot, but if they don't take hold real quick, I'll probably drop those just as quick. I did pick up the facsimile of Secret Wars number 11. I don't remember actually ordering this. I thought I had stopped ordering most of these variants of Secret Wars other than issues number 1 and number 8. But honestly, you might as well just go buy the original. This is not a book, honestly, I don't think should be made into a facsimile. It's not really worth anything, but I'm a sucker for facsimile, so I guess I did pick up 1 copy of that. Now, one of my all-time favorite series that I've gotten 9/8 on most of the books. I think it's one of my still on my goals list to complete a 9.8 run on the original 6 issues of Kraven's Last Hunt. And this is a facsimile of Web of Spider-Man number 32. And I want to say this is the one that I'm missing as a 9.8. So I had went ahead and picked up a facsimile of that. I've got plenty of copies of this, but I just don't have that 9.8 candidate yet. So that, honestly, I probably shouldn't have picked up this, but I do love Kraven's Last Hunt, so I'm a sucker, so I did pick that up. I do not remember ordering Hulk number 19, even though I liked the writer, Philip Kennedy Johnson. I hadn't been reading this title except for the first couple issues, and I don't know why I picked this up. I mean, we've got I believe it's a John Romita Jr. cover. It certainly wasn't for that, because it's nothing that I would have really gravitated towards. So this is pretty odd. I don't know why I did that. It must have snuck in there somewhere. I have been continuing to read the new Captain America title. I enjoyed it. I have not enjoyed the art, but I have enjoyed the title a little bit. It's been a little interesting. I mean, nothing compares to the Brubaker-Epting run with the Winter Soldier. That storyline back in the early 2000s, nothing else has compared since in the Captain America. But I have enjoyed the Alex Ross covers. This is not one of them, though. But it's a pretty cool cover right there. I did pick up the first issue of the new Moon Knight series right here. And that's probably all I'm going to do. It's a character I don't really care about. I did like the TV series. I thought that was done really well. We'll see if that comes back. I don't know. I thought they did a really good job with it. You guys, again, let me know in the comment section what you thought of that. And then the last Marvel book I did pick up was the first issue of Crypt of Shadows. Again, a sucker for number 1. I do like some of the horror titles in Marvel Comics. So we'll see. I'll give this one. This one I kind of wanted to read and see what they were going to do with that. All right, that is it for the Marvel books this week. Let's move over to DC. And one of the things I've been doing is I have kind of jumped onto the Absolute universe. I did enjoy the Absolute Batman. So I've been picking up the first couple issues of, this is issue number 2 of Absolute Wonder Woman. This has been kind of interesting as well. But the one I was really interested in was the Absolute Superman. And I'm going to pull this copy and set it on the side because Jason Aaron, who's writing this, is actually going to be at Third Eye Comics here in February. And I hope to get this copy and maybe a couple other copies of at least the first issue, as well as some other things that I've got ready for him to get signed there. So I will definitely pull this copy and have it ready for Jason Aaron to sign. Whether you like this or not, it has been a pretty big deal having the new Superman title here, but we'll save that for him to get that signed. I have continued with Absolute Batman. Here's issue number 2. This I've enjoyed. I mean, I don't like some of the changes, but it is a fun ride, I will tell you that. And I went back at the same time as I ordered the foil second. This is a second print. Let me see if I can get the light there so you can see it. And I might have actually already picked up this foil cover at New Comic Book Day. I didn't remember exactly ordering this. And this I did not pick up at New Comic Book Day when it came out, but it is a later printing of issue number 1. I do not know which printing this is. And to be quite honest, I didn't. This is really odd. I do these every month, and I don't remember ordering some of these this time. Really strange. Now, continuing with DC, I did pick up issue number 1 of Justice League Unlimited. It was the only cover that I really liked at the time. I don't think I saw the Jim Lee Hush cover. That was one of the variants, but I did pick that up on New Comic Book Day. Here's a title I'm like, just mostly because of the artwork, but we've got Batman and Robin, Year 1, number 2. And I may not like everything that Tom King does, but I kind of enjoyed this Jenny Sparks series. This one, not a title I normally would have gravitated towards, but I really like the artwork in these. Who does the art? Jeff Spokes does the art. I actually really enjoyed the art, and I've continued to enjoy this. Not the greatest thing ever, but I have enjoyed that. This was an interesting number 1, and I picked it up because it was kind of cool. Number 1, this is Batman and Santa Claus in Silent Night Returns. And I was intrigued I bought it. We'll see what that's all about, but that's pretty cool. A lot of books this week. I said it was a small box, but boy, there's a lot of books here. Now, this is Poison Ivy number 20. Which one is this? 27. I'm not reading this book, but these Jenny Frison covers are outstanding, and I saved these. I'm putting together a small pile of Jenny Frison books to take with me to Charlotte in 2025. Hopefully I'll get to go to Heroes Con this year and get her to sign some of these covers. I am such a fan of some of these Poison Ivy covers. They are absolutely gorgeous, so I'll save this to get signed. I did pick up issue number 1 of the JSA, and I can't say that I'm really a fan of the current state of the JSA, although I have been a huge fan of the Justice Society over the years. Whatever incarnations they've been in, JSA, All-Star Squadron, Infinity Inc., a lot of Roy Thomas work right there. JSA, they had that book back in I believe in the late 80s into the 90s as well. A lot of great Alan Davis artwork. You had the run with Jeff Johns really doing some great work. Dale Eaglesham and doing the artwork inside was great, just absolutely beautiful. Alex Ross covers. But the recent runs of JSA and the takes on some of these characters that they've tried to do to them, turning Alan Scott gay, for God's sake, what are you doing? That kind of shit just does not fly, and I've lost a lot of interest in the JSA because of that, but I did pick up issue number 1 of them. And then the last DC book, I picked up 2 copies of this facsimile of Crisis on Infinite Earths, number 7. My fault. Number 8. I always get that wrong. Number 8. This is the death of Barry Allen, the Flash. And for me, this was my favorite issue of all of them. The sacrifice that he went through. And it's interesting. We've seen some things like that in the MCU. The Scott Snyder and the JSA. Didn't they do something with the Flash? Or was that Flashpoint? They did something with part of this story, I think, in one of those recent either Scott Snyder movies or that new Flash movie, the Flashpoint movie. I can't remember. There was a scene in there where I think you see the death of the Flash in that. I think. Am I missing something? I don't know. It's late at night. Forgive me. But one of my favorite issues, I do have a 9.8 of this in my collection that I saved. I've got 9/8 of this, the issue prior, The Death of Supergirl, and I did issue number 1 as well. All right, so that gets down to the independents that I picked up, and honestly, every month, new books come out. I always have one book that I read before I read anything else, and it's always a Usagi Yojimbo Stan Sakai book. Well, I didn't have anything from Stan this month, but one of my favorite books of the year did come in. There's definitely 2 different titles, but it's the same character and it's the same writer. It's Jim Zub's Conan the Barbarian. This is the second title. This is The Battle of the Black Stone. And he is working with some really great artists on both of these titles, and it's just been alternating artists, but they have been really fantastic, and Jim Zub has only gotten better at writing Conan. I think it's been really good and very interesting, and from what I understand is that they are trying to get him to come back to Third Eye Comics for New Comic Book Day this year in 2025. I met him there, it was either last year or 2 years ago now. It's all running together, and that's where I started reading that title, when it was a free comic book. But apparently Third Eye is going to try to have him come back in. I can't wait, because I am bringing everything I can on these Conan books to get signed for sure. Now I continue to read Something's Killing the Children. This is issue number... No, this is actually issue number 0. I continue to enjoy this book. I do not pick up any of the variant covers anymore unless it is something outstanding or something I really want to get signed maybe. But I picked up that regular issue. Mark Miller is one of the best comic writers today, and honestly for the last 20 years. His own creation, Nemesis, Rogues Gallery. This is issue number 4. Continuing series. Probably a 5 or a 6 issue miniseries, the way those things go. I did pick up the first issue of DuckTales. Big fan of Scrooge McDuck. all-time, probably one of the all-time favorite characters of mine. Top 10, definitely a top 10 character on my list. It's one of those things I was thinking about doing a who are my favorite characters kind of show at some point, and I can tell you Scrooge McDuck is in that top 10. All right, I did pick up issue number 1 of G.I. Joe right here. This is Joshua Williamson and Tom Riley doing the artwork here. I got to meet Scott Williamson when he came to Third Eye for the launch of this book. So I got a bunch of number 1 signed when he was there. And I would say this has been a couple issues at this point now have already come out. First issue and now a second issue has already come out. And I have really enjoyed the story so far. So it's funny, I'm not reading the regular title, but this title right here I've really jumped onto. So good starting point, I think. I had dropped this title. I've been buying it. I've been buying the David Finch alternate covers since they started doing this reprint series. And at a certain point, I kind of got just a little tired of it. I think I got it around issue 50 or 60, maybe. I mean, I did a lot of issues for a few years here. But I did pick up when it got to finally back to issue number 100 of The Walking Dead. This, of course, is the reprint series, and this is the David Finch cover right there. And I don't remember this, but apparently I also ordered issue number 101 as well, another David Finch cover right there. And it's fun. I had been buying all those. I never got into Walking Dead when it was originally out. In fact, I never picked up the first issue until issue 100. And there was something about that cover that they had on there. The one cover, it looked to me like it was a very Frank Miller-esque type cover. And I think that's why I picked it up. But I didn't know anything about Walking Dead. Really, I never read much about it. I watched the TV series, and I think that's probably why I picked up the book. But I went back when these started coming out, and I've got all of these up to probably about the 50 or 60 issues. And what was surprising was some of those early books were actually, those reprint books, some of the David Finch covers were actually, I wouldn't say valuable, but at the time a few years ago you could get them graded and actually do pretty good on them with a 9.8. Anyway, I'm not continuing with this, but I did want to get issue 100 right there. Why I got 101, I have no idea. I did pick up the final, I believe it's the final issue of the Frankenstein series from Image right here. You've got the Jenny Frison variant right there, and that's why I would have gotten the regular cover if Jenny Frison hadn't done a cover, but she did on this one, so I picked that one up. This I actually picked up on New Comic Book Day, and I talked about it in one of my New Comic Book videos. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Naruto. Both very popular. This is a money type of grab book. It's trying to cross over into a different audience, obviously, right there. But I'm a fan of both. In fact, I'm sitting here, and this is something I picked up at Christmas, was the Naruto Pez dispenser. This was pretty cool. I picked this up from Third Eye Comics. It was in a mystery box, but it was in there. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I kind of want to break it out and eat the candy, but it's probably somewhat collectible. And then the last things that I picked up were, well, almost the last things. The last independent books I picked up were these EC-inspired books. This is a Cruel Universe. And I've enjoyed these horror titles that they're putting out. These are the throwbacks to the old horror titles from the 50s from EC Comics. You've got that. You've got Epitaphs from the Abyss. And they've had some pretty good stories in here. And again, why did I end up with 2 copies of that? I don't even know which issue this is, by the way. I think this is it's issue number 4. I think, again, I got caught up with the solicitation the next month, and I probably pre-ordered it again. But these have been fun little titles and everything, and fun little stories in there. Nothing major, and I honestly, but artwork's been okay. I don't know if I'm going to continue with them or not. There's always brand new books out, and I try to keep my new comic order to a certain level. I don't like to go just buy everything, but I'll try a title for a while. Usually I'll give it probably 6 or 7 issues, and if I enjoy it, I may continue with it. Otherwise, I probably will drop it. We'll see. So the last thing that I ended up picking up was this right here. And as I said, the box was really big. Not deep, but big. But it was a reprint of this right here. It is the Batman Special All-Villain issue right here. And these are these reprints of these DC Treasury editions that were very popular back in the 70s. I've got a handful of these. I didn't have this, and some of the ones from DC. I didn't have many from DC. I had several from Marvel, but only a few from DC. Never had this one, so I'm going to be interested to open this up and see what stories are actually in there. It's pretty cool stuff. Some of these are by some really good artists that are still alive today. And I think I'm going to try to take some of these and maybe get some of them signed. I don't know. That's storing these things that's why these things don't last. It's because nobody had bags big enough to put these things back in the 70s. It's a wonder some of these things even survive to this day. But guys, that is it. That's everything that I pre-ordered for this month. I will supplement what I ordered here by going to New Comic Book Day each and every week. And hopefully, as you've been seeing in some of my New Comic Book Day videos, I haven't been buying a lot. And that means I've been doing a really good job of buying and pre-ordering what I want right here, rather than going to the comic book shop and spending more money. I save a lot of money by pre-ordering. It's anywhere from 35 up to 50% off of all of these things here. When I go to the comic book shop, even though I do have a pull box and I do get a discount, it's only a 10% discount on any of the new comics. And that's why I end up, when I say I'm saving money, I'm saving money by doing the pre-order. Again, I use the New Comic Book Day to supplement what I didn't pre-order right here. But guys, that is it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about all the new comic books that I pre-ordered. And if you liked today's video, definitely give me a like, slap the subscribe, and click on that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any of the episodes that I put out each and every week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3 p.m. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of the day. I will see you in a couple of days for the next episode. Hope to see you there. Until then, remember, every comic has a story.